everybody, my name is Cheri. Welcome to my stamp studio. I am going to, if you caught, it's still Friday. My day's not going as planned. I was going to power through and gotten tons of phone calls, tons of text messages. I did get an email out. I've got this video posted, but then my daughter came over, my dad's come over, so my day's getting away from me more quickly than I anticipated. So let me just tell you what I'm going to do. First off, I am ordering catalogs early next week. If you need a catalog, if you have ordered $50 accumulative since November of last year, or you are in my card club, you'll automatically get one from me, so you don't need to worry. If you're new to Stampin' Up, or you've just started watching videos and you're kind of interested in it, your first one from me is always free. So just message me or email me wherever you're watching this from and let me know, and I'm happy to send you that one. If it's just been a hot minute and you're kind of back into it and your life circumstances have changed and you've purchased in the past, I'm happy to send you one. It's $5 to cover postage, but then when you place your first order, I will and send you that in a rebate. So I just wanted to remind you that catalogs will be ordered, and I never like to order. My first order is always ginormous. And so I order what I need for that first one. And then in a couple of weeks, I'll order some more, but I don't want you to wait for one if you're looking forward to getting one. So these two videos have posted. They're both about Card Club. This one is straight up Card Club. This is Card Club for April, has all the details about my subscription. Card Club, it's the cheapest online class that I offer. This one is Card Club Bonus for April. It's a really pretty card. This is more the stamp set that goes with the stuff that we're using for April. It also has some retiring last chance stuff in it, and I talk a little bit about that in this tutorial. So both of those are recent videos that just went up. I have a walkthrough. Our last chance list has posted for both of our current catalogs. So I walked through the mini for January, and then I told you that I was going to walk through this one. The sale, the discounts for it start April 4th. And usually, like when they tell us there's a sale, it starts that day. So people don't really have time to sit and make a plan. So one, that's good because you have time to sit and make a plan. The other thing that's going to happen is when the sale goes live, I expect that the system, whenever happens, when there's a sale that people have time to plan for, I expect the system will bog down, but I also expect that things may sell out quicker than normal. But there is a ton of stuff on sale, and I hadn't done the annual catalog yet because it's a little bit overwhelming. So when I started doing the card I'm going to do for you now, because I'm doing it because there's requests for it, because it uses an online exclusive, which is new. And I had really wanted to do stuff that is retiring. So as I started to do this card, I thought, well, I'll switch up some of the stuff on it. And I didn't even know if some of the stuff that I was using had retired because I didn't really have a plan myself this week. So I've switched some things up, and I am going to use some retiring stuff. And I decided as I started marking up my catalog, we're going to take a look at we're going to do a little bit of a walkthrough, not with samples, and I'll hit those quickly when I do the full walkthrough of that. But that way, when we do this, it won't be so overwhelming. So this is kind of walkthrough part 1 with a fun tutorial. So I'm going to use the classic letters, and I'm going to do one of the monogram cards. So the other day, and this is why people have asked me, I showed you the cards, but it was with no tutorial. So I have these, and I will do the tutorial for these, and I may again switch up some of this stuff. I did notice, and we're going to walk through this part. Everything on these cards is pretty much staying except for the actual dies that I used. Now I say that and I doubt myself. I think the layering circles are leaving, but I think I didn't check for the embossing pattern. I should check. See, we don't have a physical copy of the catalog in our hands. And so that's how I normally see what's leaving, because I don't like to scroll on the computer. And I still haven't plugged in my iPad, which I told you earlier today if you watched that video. At least that way I can see the full page, but on my catalog I can't. So I will do this. I will do this video of these cards later. I'm going to do this more simple version so I can fit in the kind of a walkthrough. So on this one, I'm going to switch it up. Monograms are back. they're back in with a vengeance because everything 80s is back again. And monograms, you know, if you're my age, you had the necklace, you had the stationery, you had the sweatshirt with the little embroidered monogram on it. So they're back. And my daughter saw these cards and she was like, oh, those are so cool. I'm going to make them for a wedding. Like kind of the first time she'd ever seen them. And for some of us, you know, have been there, done that, but it is a little bit of a retro. I'm going to use the classic letters on the case and on, you know, they're a little bit smaller on the case. The size is bigger. It does come with these pieces that you can add to the different letters, a la the 80s. So like this will fit maybe on the C. Some of them fit, they're bent to go on some of them. I did not do that on these because this was for a shoebox swap. I didn't feel it needed it. But we're going to switch it up. And then we're going to take a look as we use the pieces to see what's staying, what's going, and what will be on sale on April 4th. How's that? So we're going to fit both of it in. So let's open up our catalog. And I'm using pieces that I already used. So my sister helped cut paper for, I think these are from, if you took the embossing paste online class a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, she helped cut these and she just cut and cut and cut. And I was like, what are you doing? And she was having a good time. I can't even imagine having a good time cutting die cuts for a class because I do it all the time. But she cut way too many of these. So I've made my way through them in other uses. So that's why we had these. So let's take a look at the dies and we'll do a walkthrough at the same time. Now I do want to start by saying some of you may be looking at this and thinking, especially if you're new to Stampin' Up, because there's a lot of stuff on sale, right? And you may be thinking, why do they have so much stuff still left, for one, and why is there so much stuff on sale? Well, I have a little bit of scoop. And you know, because I have friends, and I have new friends, and I've just spent time with friends from Stampin' Up. So if you think back to when some of this stuff was ordered, so, you know, supply chain issues have been real. Whoever knew, if you think back to 2019 when we lived our lives in blissful ignorance, that we ever thought that our lives would be where they are now, that you could go to the grocery store and there could be no chicken, that you could go to the grocery store and there would literally be a sign that says limit of 2 packages of 2-minute noodles. So part of what's happened and part of what you see, especially in this part of the catalog and in the punches in certain parts of the catalog, because Stampin' Up makes their own stamps. So it doesn't happen so much there. But there was a time where it was very difficult for us to supply things because in 2019, they didn't order so far ahead because they never dreamed they would have to. So what you're seeing here is them having to order so far ahead and then the economy taking kind of a hit. So it's a double whammy of them needing to order a whole bunch of stuff and having it ready, and then the economy slowing down because they had the stuff, and really they did very well because really the only thing that we've waited on are a few dies and not many and a couple of punches. So they ordered a ton of stuff so we would have it all at our disposal. And so now it's here. And so then the economy also took a hit, and then the sales for last year were a little bit slower than they anticipated. So normally when we have a retired list, this many things are not this deeply discounted, but they have a high inventory because they ordered for this before the economy slowed down. Does that make sense? So that's what you're seeing. So they're over planning. So we would all have the things that we needed is now your advantage. So there'll be some discounts. So if you notice, there are a lot of dies that are 50 and 60% off. Not so many stamp sets. Again, they make their stamp sets, so they were able to control the stamp sets as they were needed, and so they have not overproduced those. There are a few, and there's mostly French ones. So sometimes if you can get a French stamp set, because you don't need the words, if you want more of the images and you can use words from other sets, you can make that work. So you can see, and I'll go through these more. I'm going to point out a couple of my favorites. I love the layering hollyhocks. I love the layering hollyhocks because you do not need the stamp set. I love, here's the one that I chose for Card Club before I knew about the retiring list. Of course, it's not even retiring. So let's see the ones that I have chosen. I love this one. I love this piece here. You can use it with all different cards, and it's 60% off. So there is definitely a keeper. So here's the one I'm using today, Beautiful Shapes. I've written that it's 20% off. I would check my math on any of these because it's hard when you're trying to go as quick as I was, but this has tons of shapes. It would also work if you want the layering circles and you'd rather have two, because you can get circles and this fun little thing here. And I think that the beautiful shapes, Hello Beautiful, the stamp set, now the stamp sets and the dies have the same names, but I think that stamp set is 60% off. But that's where I got this from. This one is another one that's 60% off, and it's just words, and I love that one, and I've used it quite a lot. Eden that goes with Eden's Garden is 60% off. I love this one, and I did an online class a couple of years ago when it first came out, and I have been posting sometimes when an online class is a couple of years old and something is retiring, then I do put the classes up, and I am slowly posting those. Now, who knows what I say, because who knows what was going on in my life at the time, and I know that the paper in it is no longer available. I could say that this is a sneak peek, so don't listen to the words, just watch the project. And then here, I can't believe that this one is retiring. I fully expected to look it up and it wasn't going to be, but that's where I got this from. And it also pops out the rectangle here, but Fabulous Frames is half off. I'm going to tell you a big fat secret. I have Enchanting Details, and I have run this thing through over and over and over. I think it is one of the most beautiful dies that we've ever had, and I've never actually put it on a card. So it's used. It's 60% off, but I never actually used it on a card. The hydrangeas are 60% off, same. Run them through a dozen times at least and never put them on a card. The daffodils is 60% off. The potted succulents are 60% off, and I think that is one that is also where the stamps are on sale. 60% off, 60% off, 60% off, 60% off, 60% off. And the layering circles are leaving, but they're not on sale. The dioramas are 30% off. 60, I love the sequins. They're 60% off. The seasonal labels are retiring, but they're already sold out. I love the twigs and sprigs. I think I just used them once. Well, the folder is fabulous, and I thought about using it on this card, but it didn't keep with my my 80s theme, because you know we weren't so much about nature in the 80s. We were, but so let's take a look at there are several folders that are leaving. The bricks are leaving, and guys, I haven't held the catalog. I have mostly looked at the catalog online. The seashells are 60, but when you've seen the other catalog, this becomes so much easier because there's new stuff. And when you've seen the new stuff, so here's the thing, if you just, and even here I've written the stuff that's coming back from some of our minis that will be in here. So when you know what's coming from the minis to replace this and you've seen the new stuff, it's easier. And then just look at the stuff you can get a bargain on. These seashells are 60% off. So don't be depressed, because there is new fabulous stuff coming. So that is this that I've chosen. So should I tell you just what I'm using, or should we do something with it? Okay, let's do something with it, and it'll give us a second to dry. So I'm going to use a retiring color. The color that I am most sad that is leaving is Soft Suede. So I'm going to take my Soft Suede, and because I use my blending brush with my colors all the time, I need to make sure if I'm going to keep these to use in the future, my hands are going to get dirty, that I need to make sure I have a refill. And I would get a packet of cardstock if I was stamping personally. I will never use these again. I know myself. I used to get a packet of cardstock and then it just took up space. I don't have space. And because I just use stuff that you guys can continue to buy, I just don't use it. So I don't want this to be white. And I thought about getting the dies back out and cutting them out of the cardstock. But if you have your inks and your refills, then do you really need a thing of cardstock? Because you could also get the blends And then you could just have white cardstock and you could make whatever you have that color of cardstock forever, right? So you don't, if you run out of cardstock in soft suede and that was your favorite color. For my daughter, it's the mint macaron and the blushing bride that she's really gonna miss. And blushing bride would have worked with this too. That's my second color that I'm most sad about. But then I decided to show you this. One, I didn't have to recut them. And two, if you have white cardstock, then you have whatever color of cardstock you need as long as you have the ink. But you do need that refill if you're doing it this way. If you have the blend, you're good. And if you look at if you're on my email list, I have sent you now a couple of times the PDF that you can print out just like I do. And I go through with the highlighter and I mark all of the stuff that's on sale. Now, if you don't think 10% off is worth marking it off, don't mark those off. But I start with the 60%, 60 and 50s, and I mark those off. And then you can kind of start your game plan from that. I will have some kickoff specials. I'll have a new host code that starts tomorrow. I will be out of the country. I like to do things the same every month. My thank you gifts go out the 10th of the month, every month. And I do VIP projects, and I do usually 2 different levels of thank you gifts every single month. May's going to be different. So when you purchase in April, it'll be different in May because we leave for most of the month the morning of the 12th. So I can't, and I have to get my Try It class out and my club before we leave on the morning of the 12th. So I'm going to be sending gifts as we go in April. I have some PDFs, and I don't like PDFs, but I have some fabulous PDF projects that will come to you as you purchase in April. Isn't that pretty? So, so pretty. So April will be different. And then that way when May comes, I don't have to send out the April stuff because I will have already done it. And it'll be something a little bit different for you. There we go. So that's done. And then I'm going to use, my hands were already dirty because if you watched my other video, I got Night of Navy on me. So didn't have to worry about that. I am going to use our basic white note cards and envelopes because that's what I used earlier. Because these are, they're perfect for multitudes of things. If you want to make yourself something with your initial, then you can have a little set and just make the whole package. But because they're so good for thank you gifts, if you go to a bridal shower, you can just buy the whole packet. They were on low inventory. I did not check to see if they were retiring. That was not great. I got through all the rest of the stuff. But even if they're not, I got some soft suede on my thing. It's okay. We're going to cover it up. I will check and I'll put it in the blog post if these are leaving, or you can check your PDF right now if you've already printed it out. So now let's go to this page here. This is our specialty papers. I'm not going to do everything, but I'm going to walk through them. If you saw my Rhino card the other day, a bunch of people were like, where did you get that glimmer paper? 60% off. It's the in colors that are going to still be current. They'll have 1 more year left. This is the brushstroke paper. As you can see, we used it in August Club. It's going to be half off. You are going to get some die cuts in a couple of the colors, probably all of the colors, because I'm going to have to buy it for the blue. And you know, the flip side of that paper we're using for Club this month is granite, and I think these colors will go nicely with it. It's 50% off. Then I'm going to use for this card, I love this paper. This is the gold and rose gold metallic shimmer. It comes 6x6. I'm so super sad that the brushed metallic, and if you're in Club, you get this all the time. Frankly, if you're in any of my classes, I use the brushed metallic cardstock all the time. Why didn't they get rid of the silver foil and keep the brushed metallic? I'm just much more of a gold, rose gold kind of person. So we'll have the silver, but the brushed metallic is leaving. The copper, again, I love copper. Copper's my thing. That's what I'm going to use on this card, which I should have checked the embossing powder now that I think about it, because I'm going to use the copper powder. It's only 10% off, but it's leaving. The vellum layering is 50% off. This is 50% off. The craft is leaving. the linen and the pearlescent. If you like the seashells, those seashell folders, you'll want to stock up on this. Any of the kind of ocean stuff looks great in the pearlescent. So I'm going to take this. I think the easiest way to do it is to just put it here. I'm going to use my scissors because, you know, I learned how to cut in kindergarten and it has served me well my entire life. Put this here. And then you can use your seal. I have so much stuff on my table. I'm just going to put a tiny bit there. I'm going to make sure it's the one that has, that, so it gets covered up. I'm going to do this whole one in this. I thought about putting it through a folder. My white pencil is still here from when I colored that other card. I do that in case it moves, so I can put it back. And I do it with white because then I can see it. You ladies can cut. You guys, if guys are watching. So just right along that. You can get your paper trimmer out if you want, but you really don't need to. And when you have this much stuff on your desk, as I do, to have one more thing up here that you don't have to. But I didn't want to attach it because I'm going to use some ribbon. Now the ribbon really confused me because I had marked my this catalog by looking at my other catalog real quick the other day, the one online. And you know, you can't see a whole page. So I wrote down what was coming back and then I crossed out if it wasn't in there. But not everything matches up now because we have the new online exclusive. So it's a tiny bit confusing. So you can see 40th off, 30, 40. This is the one I'm going to use on this card. Here's Card Club ribbon and here's this white glitter. I didn't mark them off, so they're not in the new catalog, but they're also not showing on the retired list. This is my favorite, one of my very favorite ribbons, these two, but this one's 60% off. So I thought about changing the whole card when I saw that was 60% off and going to silver embossing powder. If you like this style of card, I would pick some of the stuff that's super discounted, and that matches embossing powder. So get some of the silver stuff, some of the copper stuff, some of the gold stuff, and then mix it up and just put it in a little plastic tote. And you can always make these then because it'd be really pretty. And this with the silver, I love that ribbon. This is 50% off. Some of these are 60% off. This one I'm going to use is 40. When we had this ribbon in Card Club, the gray granite, everybody flipped over it. It's a really pretty ribbon. So I'm going to take this. It is rose gold ribbon. I'm going to pop this back off of here because I just used the seal, not the Seal Plus. And then I'm going to put the adhesive back here. And I'm going to just kind of rectangle it. Here. So one of the things you'll get in April as a thank you gift will be a mystery. You'll get a PDF of projects, and I have a couple different ones of them. But I did go through today and pulled out all of my ribbon that's retiring, and I have maybe 30 spools that have not been opened. And it's partly been when I do online classes, I often don't design the class until just before it goes out. So I need to have it ready. And I need to have enough of stuff that I can use it. So a lot of my favorite ribbons, I just have bulk. And a lot of my favorite ribbons retired. So it will be mystery things and it'll have a value. So you'll get that. And you can see that's crooked, but that's okay. You just pull this side, or one of the sides, and go back over here. And now you just put it on straight. How easy is this? So if you were making them for a gift for somebody, you would just do all of these first, and then I'm gonna make sure I get the side where I touched it with my dirty hand. Just line that back up on there. Don't you like me working on a catalog? You can see all the ribbons that are coming back. So that's ready. And then I'm gonna take this, and I'm just gonna add some dimensionals here. I'm gonna hope they stick, because I'm not real sure if it's gonna stick to the ribbon. If it doesn't, then we will add some glue. So I'm doing it now so it can, if I have to add the glue, I can pull it over there and let it dry while we move on to the next step. And that's gonna stick. So I may add some glue when I'm done, but it's gonna stick well enough that we can do it. Now let's go to our embellishment page. Again, you can see, I always write down what we've used in club. 50% off, 50% off. A good amount of our embellishments stayed. I can tell you what I'm most sad about leaving. The thing I'm most sad about are our champagne rhinestones, because they're a great color and they almost went on this card because they have that copper tone to them. But you can see stay. The gilded leaf is staying. We have several that are 50% off. The pearls, the opals, these are Card Club this month. I'm going to use these because they're 60% off. So I decided to pick something that was 60% off so you'd be able to see it. They are our elegant faceted gems. And they come in these colors. So I can use either the white, because the ribbon has the white, or I can use this one that's the pink, which I think will look pretty. And I'm going to put them, I'm going to use a couple of different ones. These have seen better days. These are old, probably from right when they came out. So I'm going to put the big ones here. And then after I do my monogram, I'm going to put the small ones on, maybe. Sometimes it depends on what letter. Because if you put an I on that little hexagon, you're going to have plenty of space. If you put an M or a W, you might not have space. So here's this, and then let's do our monogram. So I think that's, do we cover just about everything? I think so. You're going to laugh because, you know, we have this lovely new Embossing Editions kit, and I took them all to our event last weekend. And so I have one of the old ones because I needed them all because all of my projects had embossing. So I have this, and it's wet, right? It's probably, I could probably touch it and my hands are not going to get inky anymore. But if I stamp with it, here's what we're kind of copying. I think I'll do an S because in all of those projects, I did not do an S. So you just come in here and you find the letter that you want. Sometimes easier said than when you're not on camera. So maybe I won't do an S. No, here's one right here. And then you can get those little things, like one of these is designed to fit on the curve of the S, I'm sure. Maybe that one. I'm not going to do that for this one. I don't think it works as well if you've done an embossed one. I think it works better if you do just an ink one. I'm going to take my embossing buddy, which comes in the embossing toolkit, and I'm just going to put, it's kind of like cornstarch, just put that right over the top of that. And now it's going to stop any of my embossing powder from sticking on top of that. And I will, if the note cards or the embossing powder, the Versamark is still there, I saw that. If any of that has left, then I will put that in my blog post. I'm going to stamp this. Makes it really easy to see where it hit. I'm going to use the copper, which I think is going to look really pretty. I haven't made this card, so if it doesn't look pretty, we'll find out together. You do want to be careful when you touch it because the oils in your hand can also take off where the embossing buddy was. I'm going to heat this. So you have that, and you can see that it looks a little muted, and you can leave it. Eventually, look, I dumped that on there, even though that's good. Even though my tray's right there. Didn't even need to get that tray that was old because I didn't even use it. Put that back. And there was, thankfully I used my embossing buddy, so it didn't stick there. And then you can get something to wipe this off. In my case, it's going to be my shirt. But see, when you wipe the embossing buddy off, now even though I had wet ink on it, and I love the texture. If I had just used straight up soft suede paper, cardstock, it wouldn't have had that fun texture. So let's take this, and I am going to use dimensionals again because I want it to stand up over the top of that. So I'm going to put one at the top, and again, it may need glue because sometimes our textured specialty papers don't have, I mean, they're hard to stick to, and glue just sticks a little bit better. But for this project, it'll be fine. So I've got that. In fact, I could glue this whole thing down so this would stay raised up. Here is, when I looked to see if the rose gold paper had retired, it did not. I was going to do that. In fact, I could, here, I'm going to do it. Don't you like, this is normally what I do, not on camera. Let's pull this off. That's sticking better than I thought to the ribbon. It's not going to have stuck so well to the cardstock, the specialty paper, I can guarantee it, see. So let's put this back now. Now this has a folder that's part of our online exclusives, some cardstock that's not retiring, because just because stuff is in one catalog and not in another, or because you've had it for a while, doesn't mean that it can't all work together. Let's slide this kind of under here. Oh, I like that. But I thought if the rose paper retired, I would use that. And then I saw this paper had and this paper hadn't, which was kind of surprising to me. You know, we all like to play the game, what's coming and going. And sometimes I base it on my personal taste. And sometimes I base it on what you guys are buying from me. It's not like I sell the most stuff in the world, but I'm gonna put this back on here. And I just added some seal to the Seal Plus comes out off in tiny little strips. So because it's a tiny little strip, you can get just one. Sometimes two come out. That one came out in one. Two came out up here. So if two come out, just grab. I feel like I'm doing more of a card club class than a video. So you guys are getting a lesson. Just grab that and kind of roll it in. And then remember, I want to put two more on there of our embellishments, especially because once these retire, I have nothing left to do with them. I used to give them to my daughter, but she's doing a craft room reorganization and it looks cute and beautiful. And now she doesn't want all of my stuff because hers is all nicely organized. Beautiful. So it's the same basic pieces, and you could really just keep a little basket of all of your shinies, like all of your little pieces of glittery ribbon and papers, because on the note cards and envelopes, if you get this set, that was it 50% off? I don't remember how much the two dies were, but it's perfect to go with the letters. And the letters, online exclusives, they're not going anywhere for a minute. Letters are never the thing that sell out first. So there you go. It will probably be Monday morning when I have the walkthrough of the annual catalog. So be watching for that. I've got you enough with the dies, and you can print your own PDF out and kind of look at it. And then anything that you have missed, I will try to kind of point some stuff out to you on Monday. So get it, print it out, mark it up, and then be ready for me to kind of help you hit the high points. The Stamparatus is going. So if you've never gotten one and you've always been thinking, do I want it? It is the best one on the market. We're just not going to be able to sell it anymore. So if you want it, now's the time to get it. And I do have lots of Stamparatus videos, and at some point in the future, I will put a playlist. I'll try to go back in and find all the ones where I have plenty of training on my website on it. Everybody have a great weekend. I'll catch you later. Bye.